Even the Italians, a 36-year-old Chiellini and a 34-year-old Bonucci, if we got them in the final, how are they going to be watching Sancho come on after 80 minutes and Grealish come on driving at him with the ball fresh? Even the Spanish, how's Busquets going to deal with Mount running off him? And then when Mount comes off the pitch, he's got to deal with Foden. Like, I just don't think they're going to be able to deal with us. We're too young, we're too powerful, we're too confident, and coming home.
You're watching All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Welcome to the All to Play For Euro 2020 post-match podcast brought to you by Joe and Coral with me, Lynsey Hipgrave, and you, Joe Cole. And England were on fire last night, thrashing Ukraine 4-0 to pick their spot in the semi-finals of the Euros, their biggest ever Euros win. And Joe, you're fresh off the pitch today. I was celebrating two brilliant victories.
Yeah, 3-0 Lins. None of my centre-halves turned up, so I had to drop into the back four. And you know, like Harry Maguire inspired performance, we kept a clean sheet and we won 3-0. I actually played centre half without heading the ball once, so worked that out. I was just covering round like a sweeper, but it was good fun, and we're going to go to the pub as soon as this is finished. So very, very happy. Two great wins.
Brilliant. Any hamstring injuries?
No, I think I've cracked it now. If I play centre half, I don't have to. I can pick and choose when I sprint if I'm in the right position. So, because I can't sprint anymore, my hamstrings and my knees and hips are in tatters, but I love playing. So I think I found my position. Joe Cole, the centre half, but who would have thought it?
I'd like to see that, definitely. But with England, Joe, it really does feel like something special is happening, doesn't it? Was that the most convincing knockout tournament display you can remember seeing from England?
Without doubt, Lynn. We've been threatening this performance for a long, long time. Something special has been brewing. I've been banging the drum for this group of players for years now, and Gareth as a manager. And it was just, they answered all of the questions they needed to answer. The first game away from home in Rome, on the pitch, big favourites, change the system again, bold decision by the manager in his team picking, but people, the furore of who he picks and who he doesn't pick is sort of that noise is dying down now, because even people who would have played Grealish, who would have played Foden, they're just believing in Gareth because he's getting the job done. And some of the football from the lads was stunning. Like, we need a whole hour-long episode to go through each and every one of the players, subs included, management, everything. It was just a fantastic performance, and you can feel the groundswell of pride when you're out and about on the streets talking to people about this team and this group of players, and the belief is growing. And what a performance! It was, everything about it was stunning.
How impressive is the way he's using that squad as well? Because, as you said, everyone he's bringing in is justifying their selection.
Yeah, do you know? It's incredible what he's doing, right? And because it's almost like it's like a club team. He's switching systems, maybe bringing players in. He's playing certain players in certain games, and all of the players are buying in. Like, as a manager, it's tough to get that rhythm, like, and then getting players buying. And one player, who's probably arguably Marcus Rashford hasn't shown his quality. We all know what a great player he is so far in this tournament. But even when Marcus come on last night, we're 3-0 up, 4-0 up. And he's back at the far post defending, keeping the clean sheet going for lads. And like, that's a credit, not only to Marcus himself, but for having that kind of that desire and that, giving himself to the team, but also the group. Everyone who comes in, it's such an uncomfortable position for an England fan to be in, because we sort of, it's mock when it's coming home and things like that. A lot of it is in jest, and we enjoy the banter and we like that.
Yeah.
But genuinely now, it's
you can't believe that it can happen now. It's genuine.
It's 2 games, Lins, from immortality for these young players and this management team, and it's just it's there. And the one thing to be mindful of on Wednesday night is the fear factor. It'll be a different game to Ukraine. I thought Ukraine would be a comfortable game, but it's managing the fear now, because it's not just belief, it's expectation now. And when Gareth names his team Wednesday night, there'll be nobody questioning him. There'll be nobody well, there will be people questioning, but it won't hold no weight because the whole country is just behind Gareth, behind his team, and they just have to deal with that side of the game. And
there'll be 60,000 there. How, as a player, can you try and use that energy rather than let the fear get on top of you? Momentum. Lynn's momentum is so crucial in tournaments, and after the group stage, we had conversations with our guests, and we're picking the bones out of certain performances, and that wasn't quite good enough. And I always said from the start, from day one, I said balance. We looked like we had good balance without being extraordinary with the ball, like taking teams apart, like we've seen the Dutch do, like we see the Spanish do at times. But the balance was there, and it was building, the momentum was coming. And now that performance in a quarterfinal of a major tournament, regardless of the name of the opponent, Ukraine not being, one of the big guns, that performance at that stage sets us up to not just believe now, we expect. And Wednesday night's going to be, for these players, just go out there, breathe, take in that environment and know that every one of the people, barring a handful of the people in the stadium, is going to be behind you. And that is, what a feeling as a player that is. That is incredible. It doesn't happen a lot. And you remember in your career them moments when it does. And you just got to just ride with it and just play with your emotion and your passion and just go and do it. And I think part of that belief as well is coming from the fact that that's a 5th clean sheet in the tournament now. I think that's 7 in a row for the first time in England's history now. We haven't conceded in 662 minutes, which feels like tournament-winning defensive form. And I just love watching them, the way they're celebrating, defending, the way we're used to seeing the Italians do. Exactly.
And it's not just the back four. You can wax lyrical about Jordan Pickford and the back four because they've been fantastic, a lot of them, but also the boys in front of him, Rice and Phillips. But Mason Mount, there's a situation in the first half where Mason Mount wasn't at his spectacular best. He didn't score a goal, or do anything incredible in pitch. But there was a moment in that game when it was 1-0 and that they got a good bit of play. And Dimitrenko got down the side and he cut a ball back. I think it was Dimitrenko or Yarmolenko. And he read it. He runs 70 yards. He read it. Defensive instincts. He got it and got England out. And it just snuffed them out. Like the Ukraine, just to get up the pitch, they had to make 3 or 4 fantastic passes just to get up the pitch because our press was so good. Like, and we just suffocated them. And after the second goal, it was like when a boxer's knows he can't win a fight and he's just trying to cruise to the end of the game and not get hurt. And that's what you felt the Ukrainians were at times. They were just trying to wait for the 90 minutes and not have a little 6 or a 7-0 and that would be success for them. We was outstanding, and the character of the players it's inspiring to watch.
What did you make of Luke Shaw? Because I just loved watching him last night, and he didn't start the first game, but what do you think of his contribution since then? Well,
he's been fantastic, hasn't he, Luke? And, I met Luke a few years ago. I went to watch Manchester United train in Miami when he was under Jose, and he wasn't, I've never met him, and, he seemed like a lovely fella. And you look at him and what people forget about him, he had a horrific injury when he first went to Manchester United.
So in the Europa League, he got it, didn't he, when he broke his leg?
Yeah, and people question his, people have questioned his attitude and his mentality, but to come back from that injury and get back to a level is an achievement. But to get back to the level he's showing now at a major tournament, he needs a lot of credit. We forget about that, and he gets a lot. He's had a lot of stick. He's come. So, a list of these players have come through a lot of criticism, and they seem to be in a position now where they're so many of them are at the top of their game.
And if this tournament had happened when it was supposed to last year, Luke Shaw probably wouldn't have even been in the team.
Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, Jack Grealish, Calvin Phillips. Time in, Linz, we've had 50, 60 years of moments not going for us. Some self-inflicted because our system was never in place to produce these players, and I think the FA during the 80s, 70s, 80s and 90s took their foot off the ball, and noughties as well. In terms of the system, that's the way we played, the way I was taught to play as a kid was wrong. We wasn't producing the depth of players. A Steven Gerrard or a Frank Lampard will emerge. Rooney, because they're sent from the gods, them type of players. But tactically, we was in there. We were so far behind. But then the FA and the clubs got together, put this system in place about 15 years ago, 16, 17 years ago. And these young players are taught the game tactically and technically the right way. So we're producing the right type of players now for international football to compete. So they need credit for that. But we've so much hurt had been over the years and the moments weren't right. And now the players are dealing with the moments. They're not only are they the top players, they know how to mentally prepare for a game. They know how to see out a game. They know how to change systems within games 2 or 3 times, play different positions. Everything about what's going on at the moment is perfect. And it's worrying as an Englishman because we're always worried
that we're expecting something bad to happen at any moment. There was, apart from maybe a couple of moments in the first half, maybe Kyle Walker was a little bit sloppy a couple of times. Apart from that, it's hard to find a fault in that performance.
Listen, you will not play 90 minutes of football against world-class players without making a mistake, like Raheem's bad pass that let in Muller. Like this will happen. But what you have to remember is that everything else around it, the stuff that you can control, you control, and then it's up in the air with the gods, what happens. But the boys are just on it. They're responding well to mistakes. Raheem went and scored in that game after giving the ball to Muller. I thought he was excellent again last night. Sancho coming in was good as well. So, so many things that are just going well.
The first start for Sancho since that move to Manchester United, about 73 million. What did he show you that he can offer them?
There's one instance in the first half where I thought why I was a bit concerned. Gareth playing him because when he alluded to it at the start of the game, he felt he gives us one-on-ones, and I've not seen Jadon Sancho enough. I've not seen enough one-on-ones. But Phil Foden's got one-on-ones as well, and so's Jack Grealish, and so's Marcus Rashford. So why has he gone with Jadon? But he dribbled with a ball, and he glided, and it got me off my sofa watching the game. I was like, right, okay, that's like he took 2-3 players out of the game, and I was like, right, okay, that's why. That's Jadon Sancho. Like now I know. Man United have got a fantastic player there. And I just, it's like, again, it's another one where it's another bold decision by Gareth and another one that worked.
And you talked about Raheem Sterling as well. He's been brilliant from the start of the tournament, again last night, but Harry Kane has come alive as well. Is that partnership, that link up between the two just really clicking at the right time as well?
Yeah, what about Harry Kane's volley? My goodness.
I know. I just thought it was for sure the hat-trick.
Oh, it was like, that's a player. The first 2 games, he looked like he had the weight of the world on his shoulder, Harry. He wasn't like the player we've seen consistently over the last 7-8 years. Because it was in the brain. It's the mind of a footballer. Forget the right foot, the left foot. The mind is where it happens. And for whatever reason, Harry just felt the burden the first 2 games, but that's gone now.
And Sterling as well, when you look at the numbers, he's now been involved in 22 goals in his last 21 England appearances. For Kane, it's 27 goal involvements in his last 26. You feel like we've got the best 2 forwards left in the tournament. Yeah.
And they're being supplied by whoever plays behind them or in the pockets. Like, it feels like you're just constantly singing the praises, but you have to. We're so excited as fans, as ex-players. And you know what I would say as well, Linz? I mean, as a player, I've never felt like, how many tournaments have I missed now? I've not been at a tournament since 2010, so I've been effectively a fan for 3, 4, 5, 6 tournaments, whatever it may be. And even the ex-players like myself and my colleagues in the media, like, you feel that genuine love for this team, like belief, we're going to do it. And that helps. That helps as well. It's only like a tiny 0.5%, but it helps the lads because they don't need people constantly picking the bones out of stuff. We need to be critical. We need to be, think where we can improve because it's part of our job. And the fans, that's what we get put on the screens for and that. But genuinely, you look at the boys in the studio and you listen to them, and we're a reflection of the fans now. we love this team, we believe in this team, and we're just excited. And like you said, we've got the two best centre forwards left in the tournament, so we fear no one.
And I love that Southgate as well was saying that he's spending all of his time really worrying about the players that he's not including in the squad, that he's got to leave 3 of them out. And he's thinking about the guys who aren't getting the minutes, like Cody, like Chilwell. And Henderson was talking about the support that those players are offering behind the scenes in the changing room. And Southgate says they're the ones that are helping us be as successful as we are. They've just got that spirit between all of them, even the ones who aren't playing.
I played with Connor in his debut for Liverpool, and I know the lad and I know the character. He's got with quality player in the back 3 for Wolves. He's been a fantastic player in the Premier League. And you wouldn't want a better lad to be in that situation, because he would be genuine from the bottom of his heart, driving the players forward. Some players can't accept not being the main man, but Connor would be. And Jordan Henderson, what a moment for him, 60 games and he scored his first goal. The only thing that is taking him so long, because I know Jordan's quality, and his ability to run in. So I don't know how that's happened. He's not scored a goal.
It's the longest wait of any England player.
That is incredible because he's a talented player. But he's the journey he's had, the injury he's had to come back. Probably only him and his character, the drive only that type of drive would get him on the pitch and influencing games at this stage of the tournament. So, like I said, all of these characters, all of the broth, all of the soup, all of the different characters in the dressing room is coming together. And Gareth saying what he said, that just sums the man up. He's like the empathy for them type of players. Because I've been in that situation. I've been to tournaments. I've played every game, every minute, or whatever, and I've been there when I've been the first sub to come on this, and then I've been where I've not played a minute in 2004. So I've experienced all of them. I've been in the shoes of all of them players and the different mindset it takes. And one thing I would say, without being disrespectful to the managers I played under, none of them could have touched Gareth for how he's doing it. And sometimes the lowest commodity in the coaching world what people look at is actual playing experience. And Gareth's wisdom from where he's been, from missing the penalty in 96 and seeing Venables, seeing Glenn, seeing Sven, that is invaluable. You can't calculate it. You can't give yourself a badge, an A license, this or that. But Gareth, that plus his ability to translate it to the players is unique. And he is the perfect man for the perfect job at the perfect time. And I'll just be so happy for him and proud of him as an Englishman, come Wednesday night when he takes us to our first major final.
You're watching All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Tuesday. This is why you love international football. Thursday. The best ever goalless draw. Saturday, these guys might be underdogs, but you wouldn't miss this match. Every match day matters, so every time you collect 3 match day stamps, you get a £5 free bet. Match day rewards from Coral.
40-1 with Coral for Kane and Sterling, both to score any time and sure to have an assist against Denmark. And Harry Kane is now 4-1 with Coral to finish the top goal scorer at Euro 2020. I wouldn't put it past him. He's on 3 now. He just needs 3 more. Very possible.
A brace and the winner in the semi. That's job done for Harry.
Who was your man of the match then, Joe?
Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate. I can't give it to a player. I can't give it to one of the lads because it'll be like, choosing between your children. Do you know what I mean? It's impossible. I've got to give it to Gareth because he's just got something at the moment. If I get the chance to chat to Gareth, I'm going to say, listen, Gareth, just give me 6 numbers at the top of your head and I'm going to put it on the lottery because he can't miss. He cannot miss at the moment. What he's doing, everything he's done is spot on. And we're going to have the fully fit squad going into the semi-finals. The Italians are going to miss Spinazzola. The Spanish will miss a couple. The Danes he's just managed everything spot on. So Gareth Southgate, man of the match for me.
He just makes you feel so proud, doesn't he? Oh. And this is a tough one because we've had so many good performances, but whose place would you say is in jeopardy?
Again, I'm going to give you the same answer that I would give Like for the last game, is the only reason a player's place is in jeopardy is if Gareth decides to match up the Danes and go back to the back three. So in that case, it could be Mason if he goes back to the three centre halves and maybe brings Trips back in just to match them up. Because what that allows you to do, it allows you to have a steady start against the Danes, be nice and compact, nice and composed. And if we was to go a goal down, you've got options. But then again, even if you play with the back four and you go a goal down, you've got options because you've got firepower on the bench. But I think Gareth, I called it going back to the back four against the Ukraine. I think he may match them up, but because he may match them up because I think man for man will then be enough to win the game. He'll fancy it.
Just 90 minutes away from a first possible final at a major tournament since 1966. Say it quietly. It might be coming home, mightn't it?
It's coming home, Liz. We have to listen, we're all about this. At this podcast, we're about positivity. We've said it from the start and we're gonna keep it going. It's coming home.
It's coming home. Joel, thank you very much. Great to see you. And we're back tomorrow. We're back in the pub in the All to Play for Arms. We've got former World Cup finalist Nigel de Jong with us.
What a tough man. We've got Linz coming in here. He was an absolute beast in midfield. And it'd be interesting because he's played in a World Cup final. So we'll get right into him about that and what, I didn't get past the quarter-final on 3 occasions. So, it'd be great to have Nigel in and ask him how that feels.
Yeah, we looking forward to that semi-final against Denmark on Wednesday as well. You can find that show wherever you find your podcast or on the Joe YouTube channel. You've been listening to the All to Play For podcast, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
You've been watching All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.